Though many people probably wouldn't have noticed, the New York City Daily News published a front page cover that said that the Ku Klux Klan had decided that they were going to endorse Trump to be the next president, Donald J. Trump. Now, first of all, if anybody's been paying any attention to all of these newspaper covers the Daily News has been releasing, you'd realize right away that the Daily News is trying to do nothing more than get more attention for a medium, quote-unquote newspaper, which is quickly dying out simply because everybody who's on the train is either watching their phone or they're sitting there reading tablets. Virtually nobody reads the newspaper anymore. In fact, the newspaper at this point in New York City is basically toilet paper for homeless people, or it's taken home so that people can use it to pad their bird cages. It's disgusting to me to watch what the media is doing because I, as a part of the media, I understand exactly what they're doing. Whether you swing to the left or the right, they've got something just to try to get your attention. The simple fact is attention equals money. People wonder, oh, well, why are the Kardashians famous? The problem is whether they're talented or not. The problem is they can get attention, whether it's from your kids or your girlfriend or whatever. Some people wonder, oh, well, how come people watch The View? The simple fact of the matter is there's a lot of bedridden old women at home who are watching The View. Attention equals money. Attention equals money. That is the new rule of this 24/7 media beast, YouTube, and just about anything else that has to do with getting money for getting attention. The Daily News got some headlines when they insulted Ted Cruz after he said, quote-unquote, New York values in relation to Donald Trump, claiming that he wasn't a real conservative. First of all, Donald Trump isn't a real conservative. I'm pretty sure most conservatives, most rhinos, and most Republicans already recognize that Donald Trump is not really a conservative. Donald Trump is a rich loudmouth who has enough money so that he couldn't be crushed by the liberalism on the left, and he couldn't be stopped by Fox News or the GOP trying to use Fox News to stop him. The Daily News insulted Ted Cruz, which lets you know right away where they stand. Usually it's the New York Post that takes a conservative swing and it's the Daily News that takes a liberal swing, just so whichever way you go, they got your money. They just want your money. They don't give a shit what you believe in. They just want your money. So anyway, the Daily News insulted Ted Cruz, telling him to drop dead, and they show the Statue of Liberty sticking up her middle finger. First of all, Ted Cruz does have the right to free speech, just like every single other American that I know of who understands what the First Amendment is. And second of all, I kind of thought it was a bit funny that for them to say something like that, drop dead Cruz, and then to insult him, that's kind of what somebody like Donald Trump would say. So you mean to tell me that you unprofessional hack journalists are so pathetic that at this point you have to sink to making insults about politicians that you don't like or don't endorse or whatever, and you have to sink that low so that you have to insult them? And your insults is the only way you can get attention for your failing medium, which nobody's reading? Here, newsflash, idiots. Everybody's sitting and watching Facebook or Twitter, or they're reading something on their cell phone or their iPad. They don't care about your stupid 50 cents or 75-cent paper. They're not going to spend extra money on it when they could just as easily put that same money into a package of chewing gum or a little bit of acne cream so that they can get rid of their acne on their way to school. The thing that bothers me even more is the fact that I feel most of the people who should be speaking up in defense of these campaigns, regardless whether or not you like the campaigns or not, are not speaking up against this media, which is obviously hijacked by a bunch of hack journalists. Very simply, they've been doing their best to paint Trump as a racist and trying to twist his words when really what he's been talking about all along is border security, something that every single president has quote unquote talked about but hasn't done anything to solve. Apparently, we must have just forgotten about the fact that this country has been attacked on 9/11, and we must have forgotten about all of those assurances that sooner or later somebody might try to sneak in weapons through our border. But then again, when you really think about it, why would they want to close the border when the border helps fuel the prison industrial complex? I mean, if you really think about it, you've got drugs getting in, you've got guns getting in. As far as they're concerned, a small number of people get killed. As far as they're concerned, that's a risk that they're willing to take, right? But the simple fact of the matter is, the reason why Trump has gotten so far is because his very candidacy is an indictment against all the failures of government and, quote unquote, the failures of media as well. Everybody blamed the media and said, oh, yeah, well, they were too soft on Obama. Well, guess what? Obama was going to win in 2008 simply because the economy collapsed on September 15, 2008. The mere fact that so many people lost that much money out of their 401ks, McCain, Palin had no chance whatsoever of winning. And guess what? Fast forward to 2015, we're deeper in debt. We're closer to $20 trillion worth of debt. We're still running multi-trillion-dollar deficits. I think the last deficit I saw was $4 trillion. Or the last deficit or budget that I saw was $4 trillion. So out of that, there was a massive deficit. When you're a government and you're spending $50,000 to $60,000 per second, there is no such thing as saving money. The Republicans and the Democrats have both failed this country, and that's the reason why Trump is getting so far. In fact, many people are saying Trump is probably going to be the end of the GOP. Good riddance. While I believe in free speech and I believe in freedom of the press, watching these hack journalists make these ridiculous newspaper covers just to get attention makes me sick. And the sad thing about it is, if the shoe was on the other foot, they'd just be doing it about the next guy. And what kills me is the fact that they really have no story. They're talking about the Ku Klux Klan endorsing Donald Trump. But what they seem to have forgotten is that not very long ago, in 2008, the Ku Klux Klan endorsed Barack Obama as well. Yeah, that's right. If you simply type it in, CNN years ago, because I have a very long memory, CNN years ago talked about the fact that the Ku Klux Klan endorsed Barack Obama. That was a story that was on September 16, 2008, and it made big news. And you'd probably wonder, well, why would a bunch of white racists want to endorse Barack Obama? The reasoning behind this was that if we get Obama elected, or if people elect Obama, it's going to fuel our recruitment because there'll be so many more angry white people, they'll be running to the Ku Klux Klan in order to join up. To do what, I'm not sure, but very simply, their reasoning for endorsing Obama was that it would fuel their recruitment. But what's even funnier than that is apparently other short memories nobody seems to remember that only in July 2015, that's last year, July 20th, apparently the KKK and a bunch of neo-Nazi groups also decided that they were going to endorse Hillary Clinton. Apparently, they didn't realize that Trump was going to be a serious candidate. They never could have imagined that Trump would have gotten this far, which, I can understand too. And apparently, they decided to give her $2 million in her campaign. Now, is all of this information true? How would I know? I'm not her campaign manager. I'm not the bank. I can't know whether or not they handed her any money. I can't know whether or not she accepted any money. The simple fact of the matter is, the media, regardless whether it's true or not, the media, all they're looking for is a story. And this hack journalist daily news nonsense, they were more than happy to report that the Ku Klux Klan was endorsing Donald Trump because these establishment types are terrified of the Trump presidency. Just imagine for a second that you're actually dealing with somebody who's going to possibly reverse trade deficits and cost all these other countries millions of dollars simply by forcing trade deficits to be fixed. Do you know how much money this country is losing? This country only has less than 321 million people. So ask yourself, why is it that every single thing that we buy is coming from China? Why is it every single thing that we're buying is coming from Asia? This is the greatest wealth transfer in the history of man. They used to talk about wealth transfer when they were talking about Obama back in 2008, saying that Obama was going to just put so much welfare out there that he was going to transfer everybody's wealth from the rich to the poor. Now, guess what? Fast forward to 2016, and you already know that ain't true. Here's a question. How many of you have gotten massive checks for rich people? In fact, we have a housing market that never actually recovered. We're still sitting on less than 1% interest rates. Nobody's making money on their savings. You've got a housing market that's teetering on collapse. There is a great fear right now in the marketplace that there's going to be another housing collapse this year. They said that something might happen when the Fed decided to let the interest rates float. They said that they would prick their own bubble. People like Peter Schiff and some of these economic experts, quote unquote experts. First of all, there's no such thing as an economic expert. This is a big casino. The stock market does not in any way represent Main Street. It represents Wall Street. It represents businesses investing in businesses. It represents government manipulation. Some of these governments are socialist governments in these European countries and China and Russia. The simple fact of the matter is, you can't believe everything you hear. What you have to do is you have to judge things based on what you see. So, as for the Ku Klux Klan, who cares? If the Ku Klux Klan right now said, yeah, we're going to scrape together some money and we're going to endorse a candidate just so we can gather enough hate in order to make our rolls grow bigger. Well, if the mere fact that the KKK could endorse Obama and it didn't really make that much of a difference, it's like, why would they be going gaga and going wild over a Trump possible presidency where the KKK endorsed him? But they don't say anything about the fact that they also endorsed Hillary Clinton. You know, I'm sick and tired of having to argue with people, and it's obvious that they're being used. And it's obvious that they're just not smart enough to think outside the box. But then again, you know, critical thinking has been killed over the last couple of years. Now you're dealing with kids who are so dumb that they'd have to take off their shoes just to be able to count to 10, thanks to communist core math and communist core English. So that's just it. That's just it. I had to get a rant off my chest because I'm just so sick and tired of seeing this nonsense. The Daily News keeps posting these shitty papers that I wouldn't even want to give to my parrot to shit on. I just wouldn't want to do it because I'd feel really bad for the parrot because someday he might learn to read. He might look down and look at this nonsense and then he'd be upset with me and he'd be like, you know what, why did you put this garbage in my cage? And that's just it. And God knows what they're going to put next. But what I'm waiting for is January 20th, 2017, when Trump is sworn in. And these people, all these people, oh yeah, I'm going to leave the country, I'm going to leave the country. I'm waiting for that day because I've got a lot of people to help pack.